originally they thought I'd be there 3 or 4 days. But after a week, they came to me and they said, well, Ben, we're going to have to move you to ICU. I thought, well, that doesn't sound too good. And understand I've been isolated because I had COVID, so my beloved wife, Marielle, was not able to visit, and everybody's locked out and so that. But we all kind of thought, okay, well, get through this. So they come, they move me to ICU. I was not there 30 minutes before they walk in, and they say, we've changed our minds. Actually, Ben, we're going to life flight you. I'm like, life flight me? I'm talking to the doctors like I'm talking to you guys right now.
Yeah.
We're just chit-chatting back and forth. They say, no, we're going to life flight you. I'm like, oh my goodness, like what's going on that I need to be life flighted? But I said, sure, no problem. So that's all I remember, because then all of a sudden they've injected you. I mean, I already had the lines and everything. I didn't even realize it, and I'm out. They intubate me and they life flight me to UPMC Passavant, which is a hospital in the north of Pittsburgh. Excellent, excellent hospital, by the way. Top-notch medicine. So I'm unaware of the passage of time because they now start pumping me full of paralytic drugs and something called propofol and something called, you've heard of it, fentanyl. You know that fentanyl out on the street? They start sticking it into my arm, pumping me with it, right?
Yeah.
So you guys are all praying. And for that first week in Pittsburgh, I am out like a trout. But then they start dialing it down. They start bringing me out. And so for me, understand, I'm speaking with the doctors like I'm speaking with you guys. And then I wake up and I'm in this long red and blue tunnel. And at first it was okay. There was somebody kind of moving or talking and this or that. And then I became aware of all the liquid. I was in water. And I was swimming through water. And I was swimming, it was coming up to my nose. And then it was beyond my nose, and I had to tilt my head. And I had something in my nose. Actually, what it was my feeding tube, but I didn't realize it at the time. And I had told the doctors back in Trinity that I wanted all medical treatment. I worked for Right to Life at the state office of Ohio Right to Life for 18 years. Worked on many end-of-life cases, worked for many babies. I wanted the whole thing, and they did. They were true to that. But I found myself swimming in liquid and drowning, and then really drowning. And I wasn't drowning for a minute, and I wasn't drowning for 10 minutes. I was drowning for hours. And if the doctors made just one mistake in this whole thing, it was this. They didn't prep me for that. I didn't know where I was, because I mean, I should have known I was in a hospital, but I wasn't. I was in liquid. I didn't know what the propofol was doing to me. And this sensation of drowning was traumatic. I mean, I don't wish it on anybody. And up until this point, it had never crossed my mind. This went on a number of days, of course, when I was already brought to consciousness. I'm intubated. I can't speak to anybody. My hearing is present. My vision is present, but I can't speak. And so anyway, as this is going on, it never crossed my mind that I was going to die. Why would I die? I was fine. I was one of you guys, right? But then it became apparent that might happen. And then I'll kind of skip through this because I don't want to lengthen the thing too much, but it came a point where I had a vision of my own funeral. And I was high above our church, St. Agnes, as if it had no roof. And there was my family and all of you wonderful people. And I was looking down, and I thought, well, that's kind of sad. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave them. And that transitioned into a time where it became very dark, very, very dark. There was just an island and the faintest glimmer on the horizon, but then it went up into sheer black. And high up in the sky, the highest angle, appeared an M, a Marian M, an auspice they call it, I think, a Marian M. And I began to realize that I could not swim much longer. I was getting tired. I was swimming and drowning, and I couldn't keep my nose. And I realized I might, to my great surprise, I realized that I might be at the end of my life. And I couldn't believe it. But I couldn't, this was going on hour after hour after hour. Anyway.
Can you help me understand? Because I'm not a medical guy. So were you actually in water, or was this a psychosis thing?
Exactly.
Yeah.
This was the effect of being brought out of most of the drugs, but not quite.
Okay.
Not quite. And so I was conscious, but yet it was just the effect of these things. But I hadn't been.
And you
warned
were
of
all
this.
alone because your family wasn't there. Were you able to hear doctors? Were they explaining anything to you, or was there like
no.
isolation and
this
loneliness?
is exactly. In fact, they had poor Marielle, who had first come, and she was dressed in literally a moon suit to be able to be there. But they had instructed her, don't speak to him, you don't interact, because he could distort his thing. It was the exact wrong advice, and I'll tell you later about how that played out on the second intubation. But anyway, in this, it became evident I didn't know that I was going to survive this, and so finally I cried out, Maria, Mary. And my wife is also Maria. Marielle is short for Maria Lisa. At that instant, the doctor came in with Marielle, and he said, I think we can take him off now. I kid you not. This was like at the very, very end. And he said, I think we can pull him out. And so they started dialing everything down completely, and then they extubated me. By the way, that's horrible. Don't go through it. And
It
we all
wasn't on
thought-
my to-do list.
Right,
I'll be
exactly.
honest. I have a dream list, not there.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I got the T-shirt. You didn't either, right?
Yeah.
So I come out, and we're all good. And I thank the doctor for all of his work. And he said these mysterious words to me. He said, it's nice to have a rare success. And I didn't quite fully understand what he meant. One of the nurses had said to Marielle, she said, I've only been here 3 months in this ICU. She said, I've never seen anyone survive what your husband just survived.